Is it possible for a Christian to vote for a Democrat? The simple answer is no. And I want to use one single policy to make that simple, obvious answer even more simple and more obvious. If you're like many voters today, you're likely not voting for something, you're voting against something. If you're a Christian and you're going to be voting against Donald Trump for any reason at all, for any moral reason, I would tell you that there's no possible way that you can find anything in Donald Trump that is more morally depraved, more abominable than torturing, dismembering, killing, and selling the body parts of infant children. I'm not here to tell you that you should vote for Donald Trump. You don't have to vote at all. I'm just making the point that if you're going to vote against anything at all, it better be against the federally subsidized murder mills at Planned Parenthood, which is the primary platform of the Democrat Party. If you're indifferent to the torture, murder, and sale of children, you literally do not have a shred of morality in you. You are so depraved of a moral compass and relationship with God, which is the standard of objective morality, you can never actually make a moral complaint or objection ever again in your life. If you support the right, quote unquote, of a woman to murder her own children, you are at the absolute bottom of humanity in terms of having a grasp of objective right and wrong. It's funny because in the debate arena, when it comes to the topic of morality between a Christian and an atheist, time and time again, the use of "is torturing babies wrong" is always the absolute lowest common denominator of finding common ground between atheists and theists. Both agree that torturing babies is definitely wrong. Although the atheist has no foundational reasoning to ground himself in that conclusion, he still acknowledges that it is indeed undoubtedly wrong. Yet in America, this satanic ritual is not only not immoral, it's actually morally virtuous, superior. It's an act of social justice. Actually, anyone who speaks against it is labeled a sexist, misogynist, immoral, evil-meaning white supremacist. The Democrat Party has made it crystal clear selling dead infants is the primary purpose of their entire movement. Reading from the homepage of prolifedem.org, it says that pro-life people of conscience face a dismal choice in 2020. But the recent Democratic nominating contest made one thing clear. The Democratic Party hates us. Instead of inviting pro-life Democrats into a big tent that won huge majorities as recently as 2006 and 2008, the party told us to drop dead. So according to pro-life Democrats, they are unwelcome by their own party, and there is absolutely no room in the Democrat Party for anyone who values life. According to prolifedem.org, 1 in 3 Democrat voters are pro-life. This is a huge portion of their voters, and they have made it clear that they have no interest or need for them. You tote the party line or get lost. A CNN poll of Democrat voters, which is obviously a biased fake poll, said 79% of voters view abortion access as the most crucial issue this election. And this is not just the opinion of the voters, this is the entire thrust of the Democrat Party. If you are pro-life, you will not be running for office as a Democrat. 2020 brought out 24 Democrat presidential candidates, and every single one of them supports abortion rights. There was not a single pro-life candidate. We could look through a couple of these quotes and see that every policy they push is actually just a road to lead to the more murdered children. Let's see, Elizabeth Warren wants to codify Roe and repeal the Hyde Amendment, which blocks federal funding from being used to directly support abortions, and protect a woman's right to not have children. Protect a woman's right to not have children. I hope she doesn't start supporting a person's right to not have neighbors. Andrew Yang also wants to make Roe the law of the land and give all Americans free money. Why the free money, you ask? To help low-income people afford abortions, of course. Amy Klobuchar, of course, wants to make sure women have the right to make their own decision, so long as that woman isn't in another woman's womb. Kamala Chamomile Harris, running with Joe Biden, wants to stop dangerous laws that restrict reproductive rights. Can you see the doublespeak they use there? That's called doublespeak. When they say something that sounds positive, but it means something else. Killing another person is called reproductive rights. That's like running on a platform that promotes burglary and theft and calling it charitable deeds. And of course, Joe Biden himself, which I don't actually believe he believes anything at all. But someone told him to affirm infanticide also. He actually has a federal health care plan that would include paying for cutting children into pieces, just like Kamala Harris. Tulsi Gabbard used to be against federally subsidized murder, but remember, tote the line or get out. Just let, Comrade de Blasio tell you. If you don't support repeal, he's speaking of repealing the Hyde Amendment that blocks federal funding for abortions. He says you should not be the Democratic nominee. It's not enough for you to just support a person's quote unquote right to have an abortion. You have to demand that taxpayers pay for it against their God-given conscience. So yeah, it's true that the Democratic Party is for many things other than abortions. They're for more federal funding so you can get an abortion. They're for universal health care so you can get an abortion. They're for giving away free money so you can go buy some more abortions. And of course, they're always paving the way to make sure women have the right to make their own decisions. And by decision, we mean kill their own kids. By the way, do you see the Baphomet like mixed in with a communist fist and some sort of feminist poster? Anyway, so you're starting to see the absolute obsession the Democrats have with abortions. I won't even get into the media and major global corporations, but this was on the homepage of the Huffington Post. I think it was Huffington Post. Very left, liberal, progressive website. When the news was breaking that pro-life Republican Amy Coney Barrett was going to replace Ruth Bader Ginsburg on the Supreme Court. This is how demonic these people are. To them, it's the end of the world to have someone on the Supreme Court that won't vote for a post-birth abortion. Even the thought to them that less blood of children will be spilling on the grounds of America, it's like world-ending to them. And this should not come as a shocker, though, because they have been pushing the idea toward us for decades that the world is overpopulated. Far-left progressive puppet Bill Maher is very blunt about his position. He says, I'm consistently pro-death. I'm pro-choice. I'm for assisted suicide. I'm for regular suicide. I'm for whatever gets the freeway moving. That's what I'm for. It's too crowded, so the planet is too crowded, and we need to promote death. When you read in the Bible, you come across areas that talk about God destroying the Canaanites. At first glance, you think God is being unloving and cruel, until you find out why he wiped out this wicked nation. The Canaanites practiced worship to a god called Moloch. The Canaanites would kill their children on an altar to Moloch as an offering, and in return, they were supposed to receive a more prosperous future. When people realized the atrocities that a nation like this did together, people's reactions usually go from, oh, God is mean, to, oh, wow, yeah, those people really deserve to be destroyed. That's so sick. And today in America, these same satanic rituals take place in every state. Girls are persuaded to bring their children forth for sacrifice because they're not ready to have kids yet, because they're not financially stable enough yet, because they have a college future ahead of them, and they have planned children in the future that they need to provide a better life for. Today, we press our young daughters to kill their children in hopes of becoming more financially stable in the future, the exact same way the Canaanites did. As a believer in Jesus Christ, I do not see how you can get into a voting booth with the knowledge of God and vote for a group of people whose entire purpose is to bring more innocent blood to their altar for their future financial prosperity. If you vote as they want and make Roe the law of the land, where every citizen in America, whether through our tax dollars or actual support, united as a nation, continue this horrific act that has already killed about 80 million people in the past few decades. Never complain about another thing ever again in your life. Just how God brought divine judgment upon Canaan because of their idolatry and murder, so too will he in the USA, and it will be completely justified and righteous. America is screaming for justice, and we just might get it.